Welcome back. Welcome back. It is me, BrittReacts, and today we're going to react to Ricky Gervais' best arguments against religion. Let's see what happens.
Why don't you believe in God? Well, that's a very strange question. Why don't you believe in God? You came up with it. Why would I? Religion's greatest trick wasn't convincing some people that there was a God who was all-powerful. It was convincing everyone else that you couldn't ridicule that idea.
Ooh, that was a opening line. I reacted recently to Ricky on the Stephen Colbert show. Colbert, right? Something like that. And I loved the conversation, and I mentioned that one thing I am finding when I am reading comments from people who identify as atheist, and I don't know why I said people who identify as if it's, like they're transgender, but people who are atheists or anything of that sort, is that it always feels like they are open to feeling differently. They just don't feel that way right now. I love that you can see Ricky being very thoughtful and intentional about what he's going to say. It never feels like he's wagging his finger or shaming Christians. It just feels like he has very practical questions. And, I don't know. I guess I respect that. I don't know. But what an interesting thought. Like, my issue is not with like religion itself, but the idea that you couldn't ridicule it. That's deep. It is really deep.
We're all born atheist, and then that gets changed or enhanced. I mean, there shouldn't even be a word for atheism. It shouldn't exist. Shouldn't need it. There's not a word for not believing in fairies,
Oh.
And if people didn't keep inventing these weird, impossible deities, we wouldn't have to go around denying them. The human brain, when it's young, is a sponge. It has to be. It has to take in all the information. It has to trust its parents, its elders, to survive. Without question, don't touch the fire. Why not? Don't go near the wolf. Don't touch that spider with the red bit. Don't touch that. Why not? Just don't. There is a God. What? There is a God.
Spiders.
And if you're bad, you go to hell. Okay? And if that's constantly confirmed, like all the other things, wolves eat you, black widows kill you, fires burn you. If
How
it's
many
given
more
that
spiders?
same level of credence and truth, you're never going to get over it. It's going to be a lot harder to undo that. I think the myths came up, maybe, often as a stopgap to knowledge until we find out more. The earth is flat, and no, we've proved now, okay, the earth's not flat, we were wrong, okay? But that's not personal. You don't take that personally. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect your afterlife, And so they often want to hold on to that, right? But only because of the way they've been conditioned. We know it's fun to tell children there's a Santa Claus, and there's fairies at the bottom of the garden, and all these cute things. It's cute till they're 7 or 8. If they're 34, it's a bit embarrassing socially. This is my son. What's he doing? He's looking for fairies.
I also feel like, especially in that interview with Colbert, that like sometimes it's really hard for Ricky to get his whole point across, and especially like a 2-minute interview, 5-minute interview. I feel he's really able to explain himself slowly and precisely. I don't know if I need to say this, but I am a Christian and I fully believe in God. I understand how people can question it. I've questioned it myself. I don't know a single honest human being who believes in God that will tell you they've never had a doubt. But for me, it is the same thing as love. Like, you can't see love. You can't hold love. You can't taste love, but you feel it and you know it's so real. And you know, you look at your children and your heart burns for them. And you look at your spouse and you look at your family and your friends and you love them so much, but you can't see it. It's not like tangible. And so I don't understand if we can't understand the concept, if we can understand the concept of love, which is an invisible emotion, why we can't also understand the concept of God and faith. I too really struggle with religion and the construct of like man-made, man-altered religion and the rules and all these things. And I get all the talk about the Bible and I understand those things, but nothing will ever change my mind about my experience and what I know I have encountered and felt and witnessed and have had happen to me on behalf of my faith and my belief in Christ. No one can take that from me. You can't see it. Shoot, I can't see it, but I've experienced it. I've walked through it. And so I 100% understand the skepticism behind religion and the church. I got my own church trauma, okay? I get that. He said, we're all born atheist. I get that statement. And even as a Christian, right, you're like, you are born again. You have to declare your belief in Christ. And so in that way, I get what he's saying. I don't know if I love the wording, but I get it. I mean, we all are all born of flesh. And until someone introduces the concept of God, I guess we are unaware of it. I get that. I think that's just like, I don't know. He's making such bold statements that are just making me like kind of think.
It's a bit embarrassing socially. This is my son. What's he doing? He's looking for fairies. Is he? Okay, we better leave. If you're born in India, you're probably a Hindu. If you're born in America, you're probably a Christian. If you're born in Pakistan, you're probably a Muslim. That's a coincidence, isn't it? That you're always born into the right God. Always. Isn't that lucky? I was born into the right God. All those others are going to hell. But I was born into the right religion. I'm going to heaven. It's strange that we hold on to these sort of medieval beliefs. You know, where did the universe come from? God made it. Which doesn't solve the problem for me. Because we straight away say, well, who made God? And if they say, well, he's always been around, well, let's just say the universe has then. Let's just cut out the middleman. Dogma is the dangerous bit, and it doesn't just exist in religion. It exists in more and more places now, that cultism, that which shouldn't be questioned. Anything that, you know, that's what you want to question. If someone says you shouldn't question this, though, you've got to question it. You've got to question it. It should be irrelevant, but it isn't, because it does infringe on people's liberties. Certainly religion, not spirituality. You know, someone believing in God, that's fine.
Harmless.
Absolutely, doesn't bother me at all. Religion isn't harmless. It's when your God starts telling you that.
This is to the tune of what I was just saying. I don't find that I disagree. I say it all the time. I think religion has been corrupted, transferred, changed, and formed into whatever serves the leader of said religion or the leaders, or, you know what I mean? Spirituality is a journey that someone goes through internally emotionally within themselves that I think Ricky is saying, like, I don't question that. I don't have a problem with you believing in God. It's the religion, the thing that if you question it, you go to hell. And, he does such a good job of explaining himself. I don't know. I think, I don't, y'all know me. My cousin is Mr. L. Boyd, and he is not a believer. I think I'm okay to say is okay to be called an atheist. He's probably the only person that I'm knowingly close to that is that way. He doesn't have a belief in God. So, Ricky is probably the next up as far as hearing them speak about it. And my cousin, Mr. L. Boyd, he'll tell you he's read every book of faith there is, and he's educated himself, and I think he probably agrees with Ricky. I am about to eat a Mentos, guys. Sorry, not sorry.
You should kill homosexuals, and
exactly.
That's when it's not harmless anymore.
Most religious people aren't crazy. It's something else. Again, it's something, we worry about the people who believe the bad bits in their holy book as well as the good bits. Most nice people who believe in God, they can tell the difference. They know the nice, they cherry pick and they know the nice bits from the bad bits. They don't do the bad bits. And my point is, if you know the bad bits from the good bits, you don't need the holy book. You're already a moral person. I think it's very important you challenge your own beliefs. I mean that's what science does, really. It doesn't constantly try and prove itself right. It follows the evidence, whatever that is. In fact, it tries to prove itself wrong. It doesn't sulk. When science thinks something and then it discovers it was wrong, it doesn't sulk because it found that out too. It's the question I often get, that people say, well, you're an atheist, you're closed-minded. No, I'm not. That's a strange thing to say. I think the opposite is true. I'm going to always follow the evidence, whatever that is. And they say things like, if someone proved to you God existed, would you believe? Well, of course I would, by definition. In fact, it would be the greatest scientific discovery of all time. Scientists would celebrate. They'd run round. At the moment, we have no evidence for the existence of any God or anything supernatural. Never have. Possibly never will, but who knows? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. When someone puts forward a jar of God, we'll test it for its godliness, and if we find there's anything godly in it, we'll write it down. If you throw a load of coins on the floor, no one arrangement is more amazing than another. And it's sort of like they work backwards. Because this is what happened, this is what we think is perfection. So we try and... We can't get around the fact
Is that Earth in coins?
It's
That's
crazy.
cool.
We've got two eyes. That's exactly where I put them. These are brilliant. This is exactly... If I was making a person, I'd make it just like me. And it's hard not to think there was a will to it. But there wasn't.
You know the Mark Twain quote about, it's so great that I have ears here to hold up these things. We have glasses, and these ears are just perfect for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And another Mark Twain...
What's particularly good about that, it's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Because he's being sarcastic about evolution. And,
Right.
But in a strange way, people should take the analogy of the glasses. Because we know those glasses were made for ears. Do you know what I mean? It's strange. We know that we did that, and no one would ever go, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
I just found these weird glasses on the floor, and they fit my ears. And that's what people can't get round, because they want to do that with everything. They want to do that with,
Yeah.
But wasn't it great when he made bees like pollen? That was a masterstroke. I'd have just had flowers and bees. He went, no, I'm going to make them need each other. Brilliant.
You are a pathological atheist, and therefore the thought of death is very final for you. For me...
Okay. for those of you, and you all like leave very descriptive comments, and I thank you for that. Thank you for taking the time to explain yourself and your belief or lack thereof. But I guess I wonder, this is just me being curious. There is nothing. I could watch a million of these videos and I could understand exactly where he's coming from, but there's nothing that'll ever change my mind. I guarantee you, call me crazy, you tell me I've been brainwashed a million times. I have been, by Jesus, and I'm so glad. But I guess I just want to know what is your opinion of evolution and why or how we came to be, and our appendages and our eyes and all the things that work the way they work for us to be here, or the bees and the pollen, or the ocean and the sand. Like, what then? I just would love to hear is the explanation for those things according to you, or whatever it is you believe or don't believe. In the comments now.
It's the start of something new and glorious. For you, that's it.
For me, it's the end of something
look
glorious. So I have to pack it all in. But, you know, I'm not depressed about it. I don't want to die any more than anyone else. And I think there's this strange myth that atheists have nothing to live for. It's the opposite. We have nothing to die for.
You have more to live for.
We have everything to live for.
Yes.
I think it's precious. I think it's beautiful.
Right,
I think the world is amazing. I love people, animals, art, every hobby. I can't believe my luck that I'm alive for these 70 or 80 years. Might be less. Wait, you know, I'm not long for this world. My nan used to say that. She lived till 83. I think it was 40 years ago, and I'm not long for this world.
For a moment, I forgot Ricky is an actual comedian. I just want to stop. This is just so funny because he said 83. I watched a YouTube short last night or this morning. I can't remember because it's 1 o'clock in the morning as I'm filming this. This little boy is leaning on his, I guess it's his great grandmother. And he's like, how old are you? And she says, 83, 8 and 3. He's probably between 5 and 7. And he said, oh, so you're close to 100. And she said, yeah. He said, so you'll be dead soon. And she said, I hope so. And the mom filming was like, oh my gosh. And they both looked at the camera and was like, what's wrong with what he just said? It was so funny. I don't know. The 83 brought that back to my memory. But it literally, he was like, oh, you'll be dead soon. And her being a realist, she's like, yeah, I hope so. I don't want to live that long.
I think it was 40 years ago, and I'm not long for this world.
You said the things you like. What are the things that really annoy you?
Only two things really, really make my blood boil, I suppose. I suppose in general, as I get older, injustice. Injustice quietly makes my blood boil. Either personal, social, political, personal. I suppose the two main categories are religious intolerance, this arrogance that you think, arguing over whose God is right, sort of gets me down a little bit, and I've got no problem with spirituality. I really haven't. That's another myth. And I always try and make the difference clear between spirituality and religion. One is a very personal feeling, a journey, a hope, or whatever, a need, a joy. And the other is an organised body that uses that for power and corruption in many cases. And I don't have either, but I suppose I think that when it affects me, that's when I have a say in it. And religion affects me. Religion's very real.
So we don't need God to be good.
We don't need God to be good, and even if we did, we haven't got him.
Quite right.
So there's
what matters is what's true.
Yeah. I didn't choose
It's a
to
big
live,
statement.
but I love it.
We don't need God to be good, but if we did, we don't have him, I think is the end quote. I, as a believer in God, as a Christian, as a believer in Jesus dying on the cross for my sins, Trying to find the right words. I don't do you need God to be good? I guess the answer is no. Do you need God to be good? Like, to be a good person? Do you need to have God to be a good person? I want to be clear is what I'm understanding that question to be. Do you need God to be a good person? There are plenty of good people on this planet who don't believe there is God. So I guess the answer to that is no. But I say this, and I'll always say it, like, on your worst day, when you don't want to be kind, you don't want to give love, you don't want to be loved, you hate everything and everyone, having something to anchor to and hold on to that pushes you towards goodness, in my opinion, is a necessary thing. For me, that is God, that is faith, that is relationship with God, that is the belief that Jesus paid the ultimate price for me to be able to live my life and have those bad days, and then ask and hope and pray that I can be forgiven from the people that I affected, from God, from Jesus, whoever. That is my belief. So I guess, no, you don't have to believe in God to be a good person. But I believe, for those of us that do believe, God is a motivational force for me to wake up every day and choose to be good when my flesh, my humanity doesn't want to be good, doesn't want to be nice, doesn't want to be kind, doesn't want to be generous. So yeah, that's my take. I love this conversation. I think it keeps me alive in my belief and my faith. I think hopefully someone watches it and resonates with it, And I just appreciate everybody for being here and taking the time to watch it. So, as always, all opinions and perspectives are welcome. Unkindness, however, is not. So keep it cute or put it on mute, boo. All right? I love you guys. Go and have the day you deserve. Bye.